Radnor High School displays art from around the district.
Students participate in the Dance Revolution tournament.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of NEWSCENTER 16. I'm Brian Roden.
And I'm Michelle Zhu. We'll have those stories and more later in the show, but topping the Radnor beat this week. On Tuesday, the 18th of March, the Meister Singers of Radnor High School, directed by Dr. Bruce Glennie, responded to an invitation by the Temple Music Department. The invitation asked them to board the bus during first period and head to the city to be critiqued by an audience of music professors. This was dubbed a choral festival, as there were 3 other high school choruses in attendance. The group ate lunch at one of Temple's many academic halls and had the pleasure to hear the Temple chorus perform several a cappella selections before heading home. All students in attendance appreciated the critique and an ability to show Radnor has a successful and entertaining chorus.
On Tuesday, the 25th, 22 Radnor students will compete in the American Invitational Math Exam. The test is part of 3 tests used to find students for the United States Math Olympic team. The first test was the American Math Contest, commonly known as the AMC 10 and 12s. The top 1% of those students go on to the American Invitational Math Exam. The test is 3 hours long and consists of 15 problems. This year, Radnor sends 22 students, the most ever, to compete from Radnor. Students who go on further will compete at the USAMO, or USA Math Olympics, which is a 9-hour math test taking place over 2 days. We wish all the students competing the best of luck.
On March 14th, the Dance Revolution competition was held in the Radnor High School cafeteria. The contest was organized by Radnor Anime Club and sponsored by Radnor High School Spanish teacher, Mrs. Kunda. The Dance Revolution, or DDR, as it is usually called, is a Japanese arcade game. The objective of the game is to step on the right arrow at the right time, in the order they appear on the screen. A footpad that the player steps on is connected to the game system, which calculates a score based on how accurate the player's movements are. There are many different steps, songs, and levels of difficulty that the player can choose to play. At the end of the contest, Laura Schilling placed first and Jill Zavodnik placed second. The competition was a great success and fun for all.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
What are you going to do to end the silence?
Hello, and welcome back to this week's edition of NEWSCENTER 16. Sean Cassera is now in with this week's movie review. Sean?
Thanks, Brian. To start off, there is a method to my madness. Many of you avid Sean Cassera movie review fans may say, "That's Sean. He doesn't like any movie." Actually, I almost always review movies I don't like. Why is that, you may ask? Just so all of my fans out there won't have to sit through terrible movies. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of movies I like, I just don't review them. With that in mind, here's this week's movie review. I do not want to see this movie. Is Hollywood going downhill? This was a question I posed after viewing The Hunted, starring Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones. Del Toro plays Aaron Hell, who is a military assassin who has gone over to the crazy side. What does this mean? He's now keeping himself amused by hunting people. Tommy Lee Jones plays L.T. Bonham, a retired military trainer who is asked to track down Hallam, who happens to be his former student. The writers of this movie tried to do something, something new, something fun. In a time when most script writers are concentrating on, moot points like developing characters and forming a believable plot, the writers of The Hunted decided to take a risk by not developing any characters and making the details in the storyline unrealistic. William Friedkin directs this flick that can only be characterized as terrible. It is as if Friedkin was going for shock value with gory fights and mass murder scenes, while forgetting that he had to direct a decent movie. Tommy Lee Jones could act his role in his sleep. Benicio del Toro could act his role after a few years of acting school. Yes, I'm implying he needs acting school. The movie lasts 1 hour and 34 minutes. About 45 minutes into it, I was bored. I realized it wasn't going anywhere. This made the rest of the picture pretty difficult to sit through. I caught myself sighing and moaning a lot. I even started to pray that a fire alarm would go off so I could escape the theater and go home. But, I just didn't want to ruin the movie for the others I saw it with, so I took a hit for the team and stayed until the end. I clapped at the end. The torture was finally over. All in all, this movie doesn't deserve a rating. It doesn't even deserve a review, but I decided to do it anyway so that all of you out there won't go see it. Now back to you.
Thanks, Sean. On Friday, March 21st and Saturday, March 22nd, the 8th grade musical is being performed at the Radnor Middle School Auditorium. This year's show is You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, based on the popular comic strip Peanuts by Charles M. Schulz, and the show's music and lyrics are by Clark Gestner. Nearly 100 students will grace the stage and wow the audience with their talents, and this production, directed by David Galley, who is in his 9th year of directing the annual 8th grade theatrical endeavor. Approximately 40 additional students will be helping with backstage responsibilities. The production's musical director is music teacher Christine Puck and is produced by teacher Susan Lomax. Tickets can be bought at the door for $5, and shows are set to start at 8 o'clock. Be sure to support the 8th grade production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and good luck to the show's participants.
The Radnor High School Service Board had recently organized Daffodil Days. Daffodil Days is a fundraiser designed to raise money for the American Cancer Foundation. The American Cancer Foundation treats cancer patients and does research on the various types of cancer, trying to find a vaccine or some kind of cure. Cancer is one of the largest causes of death in the United States. The Radnor Service Board is raising money by selling daffodils during lunch. The money will then be sent as one check to the American Cancer Foundation. There, the money will be sent to various places to help with treatment costs for cancer patients, and will also be used to research and develop a cure for cancer.
The high school is proud to present the District Art Show during the month of March. For those of you that do not know, the show started around 15 to 20 years ago. It was first held in the administration building across from the middle school. But after renovations, the art show was brought to the high school. All the art teachers of the 5 schools in the district set up this event to commemorate Youth Art Month. The reception was held Tuesday, March 18th, with food and family to congratulate some of the best artists of the elementary, middle, and high schools. The art comes down March 29th, so be sure to check it out. The district congratulates all the students that take interest in the arts.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Ned Jarrett. On the speedway, slower cars are expected to make room for those with much greater speed. On the highway, you should always make way for emergency vehicles. When you see one coming, pull over to the curb or shoulder of the road until it's safely passed. Use your turn signal so other drivers will know what you're doing. Speed counts at a race and in an emergency. Please help them help you. This message from the Byrne Foundation, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hello and welcome back to this week's edition of News Center 16. I'm Michelle Zare.
And I'm Brian Roden. This Thursday night, Larry McKenna, an English teacher at Radnor High School, held auditions for parts in his newest senior musical. They began at 7 p.m. The auditions are open to seniors. Last year saw McKenna writing the wildly successful Senioritis, a musical satire of the illness that affects many high school seniors. The musical included hit songs from today, as well as many classics from the 60s and 70s. No one is quite sure what McKenna has in store for us all this year, but it is sure to be just as good as last year's musical.
Due to potential dangers of a terrorist attack on our country, the Radnor High School faculty has been putting together a crisis manual to help both students and fellow faculty members to deal with potential threats. The crisis manual is township-wide, but includes supplementary plans that are specific to each of the buildings in the township. The school is also taking special measures regarding visitors entering and exiting the buildings and has given each school a provisioned supply of food, water, and medical supplies in the event that a lockdown should occur. In the event of an emergency, the local television station, Channel 11, and the local radio stations will be utilized as much as possible, similar to announcements of school closings or delayed openings due to poor weather conditions. This is a difficult time for all Americans, and the Radnor High School TV studio is looking for students who would be interested in talking about and debating the current issues surrounding the Middle East and the United States' involvement in the region. We are looking for anyone who would like to share their views about the war. If you would be interested in participating, please contact Sean Castor, John Kim, Eric Minnow, or Miss Comstock in the studio as soon as possible.
Between the dates of March 27th and the 31st, Radnor High School's band will be attending a music competition at Walt Disney World. The competition, entitled Music Feast Orlando, is a weekly event taking place every weekend until June 7th. Last year's band trip to Boston was a great success, and this year holds promise of even more fun. Dan Drew, the band director, and Maria Duffy, the band assistant at Radnor High School, have planned in lots of free time for students to take advantage of what Disney World has to offer. The competition itself will be held on Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th. The band, jazz bands, string orchestra, and color guard will be competing against the other bands and other schools from all over the United States. Due to the recent events in Iraq and heightened terrorist warning levels, the trip could possibly move to the last weekend in May. Everyone seems to hope that it will not need to be postponed. No matter when the trip takes place, weary parents should feel reassured that there will be one security guard for every 3 students. Whether the trip happens in March or in May, we wish those competing luck and a safe trip to all. That about wraps it up for this week's edition of NewsCenter 16.
For Sean and the rest of us here at NewsCenter 16, I'm Michelle Zhu.
And I'm Brian Roden. Be sure to join us next week for another edition of NewsCenter 16.